language will be tolerated. And we will have a Q&A at the end of all the presentations. So here is a bubble. This is a chat box. So please save all your questions for the end of the workshop, and please type them in the chat box. And make sure you do not put any personal information in the chat box though. And at the end of the workshop, an evaluation link will be sent to you. And we highly appreciate your feedback to ensure a better quality of our webinar. Okay. And next, here, we would like to start this event with a land acknowledgement by watching a video prepared by the Calgary Public Library. It tells why it is important to do land acknowledgement. So thank you for Arabic. Share the screen.
Hi, my name is Henry Drew, and I am a staff here at the Calgary Public Library. I work at Central, and I've been asked to do a little video to help educate people on land acknowledgements. So as you can see, my little friend here, Charlie was asking about land acknowledgements, so I thought this would be a great way to show Charlie the land acknowledgement, but also to show our friends and to talk about why a land acknowledgement is important. So I am from Treaty 8. I am Woodland Cree. My reserve is Driftball First Nations, and I am a visitor here in Treaty 7. So one of the reasons why land acknowledgements are so important is because in a way, we are giving back a sense of identity by honoring the original caretakers of the land that you're in. So I challenge everybody who is not from Calgary to find out where they're from and who are the original caretakers of that land. So here in Calgary, Treaty 7, Blackfoot Confederacy. This is Blackfoot territory. So we acknowledge our Blackfoot friends. So I'll go through it once and then I'll do it for you. So it's kind of, so we start with our 7 fingers because we are in Treaty 7. So today we acknowledge our Treaty 7 friends. So this is sign language for friends. Where the Blackfoot meets at Elbows Bend. Soon came the Sutana from the Beaver clan. And that's the beaver's tail for people that are wondering what that means. And then the Iskia and Nakota in the mountain lands. Last but not least, so we do the infinity sign because that is the symbol on the Métis flag. Last but not least, Métis people from Region 3. Together, we're all treaty people here in Calgary. So see how fun that was and interactive? So we're going to do it again. This time, I'm not going to pause. I'll go through it right from beginning to end. And I hope that you guys are practicing with me and you could always replay it and do it again. So when you come to story time at the library, you'll be able to do it. Okay, so let's get started. Today, we acknowledge our Treaty 7 friends, where the Blackfoot meets at Elbows Bend. Soon came the Sutana from the Beaver clan and the Iskia Nakota in the mountain lands. Last but not least, Métis people from Region 3. Together, we're all treaty people here in Calgary. I hope Charlie liked that. Thanks.
Thank you, Arabic. So I hope you learn why it is important for us to do the land acknowledgement. Okay, today we have guest speakers and engagement activities planned to increase your knowledge of civic affairs, the 2021 municipal election, and learn how to increase your civic engagement. But first, I would like to quickly introduce CLIP, who put all together this event along with its community partners. CLIP stands for the Calgary Local Immigration Partnership that is funded by the federal government's Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Its goal is to make Calgary a welcoming place for newcomers. To find out more about CLIP, please visit www.calgarylip.ca to see how you can participate. Email us at clip@calgary.ca with your questions. The Newcomer Civic Engagement Action Group is one of the 5 working groups in CLIP, which focuses on building a sense of community and belonging through fostering meaningful relationships. This committee is comprised of representatives from all major settlement agencies in Calgary, as well as other community organizations, such as Calgary Immigrant Women Association, Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, the Immigrant Education Society, Center for Newcomers, Immigrant Services Calgary, Calgary Public Library, and the Calgary Bridge Foundation for Youth. Now we'll get started with some engagement activities. I'll pass the floor over to one of our committee members, Lily Tai, to facilitate a game called Is It Municipal? Let's welcome Lily.
Thank you, Teresa. So everyone, my name is Lily. I am the volunteer coordinator at Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, and I'm also part of the working group. So today I have the honor of hosting the first activity, and I'm going to share my screen. The purpose of this activity is to help you start a discussion about the different responsibility and roles of different orders of government. So hopefully it is something fun and interesting. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. So we have a few questions, and I'm going to read them out. After I read out the questions, there are three potential answers. You can select municipal, provincial, or federal. So you can put you can put the answers in the chat. M for municipal, P for provincial, and F for federal. And all the answers for each of the questions are the same. Are we ready to get started? All right. So question number 1, snow clearing is this a municipal, provincial, or federal jurisdiction? And Teresa, can you read out the questions, the answers for me from the chat?
Yes.
Thank you. So M for municipal, P for provincial, and F for federal.
I see M and P and M and M.
Right. Good
Okay.
answers. Good answers.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is provincial. Oh, sorry. Is there more answers?
Yeah. Well, it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
So
sorry about that.
Sorry.
So the answer is provincial. Normally, snow clearing is a municipal jurisdiction. However, Deerfoot Trail is a provincial road, so it becomes a provincial jurisdiction. So it's a little bit tricky, this one. Second question. My neighborhood would like to have a crosswalk. Who do I talk to? Is this a municipal, provincial, or federal jurisdiction?
City level is a municipal.
Okay. Yeah, we got municipal. Yes. And municipal.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that is correct. The answer is municipal. If you would like to add a crosswalk to your neighborhood, you can contact 311 or your ward counselor. There is a warrant process and there has to be a study on the pedestrian usage in the area, but that is how you start the process. So across from my children's school, who do I talk to? Is it someone from the municipal government, provincial, or federal government?
Still municipal.
Thank you. Okay, more answers coming. Municipal, municipal.
All right. So the answer is municipal. So you're all right, all correct. So again, the first person to talk to would be your counselor from your area. If there is a land use change in your neighborhood that allows for the liquor store, your counselor will know the details or know who to talk to find out that information for you. There are also different bylaws that exist about locations, proximities to schools, and what can be open where. So question number 4. I'm waiting to hear back on my permanent residence status. Do I contact someone from the municipal government, provincial, or federal government?
A federal government.
Yeah, I also see answering coming for federal. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty good. The answer is federal, and specifically Immigrant and Refugee and Citizenship Canada. So question number 5. Drivers are always speeding through the school zone. Who can stop this? Do I talk to someone from municipal, provincial, or federal government?
I see someone is typing. So provincial and also municipal.
All right, good answers. So the answer is municipal, and specifically, you can talk to the Calgary police or the local school, and they will initiate a conversation on finding a solution. So many cars are parked in front of my house. I think we need parking restrictions. Who should I talk to? Municipal, provincial, or federal government?
Okay, I see answers. Municipal, and someone is typing municipal.
All right, thank you. So good answers. The answer is municipal. So again, the person to contact is the counselor for your area, or 311, which is the general line for the city, general information line, and they can put you in touch with the right people to get a process started for your neighborhood. And keep in mind that your neighbors will be involved. So if the cars are your neighbors' cars, that might not be the best solution. And that's it. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Lily, for facilitating Is It Municipal Game. And everyone, good job. And next, I would like to introduce another community member, Froman Benson, who will facilitate the municipal election quiz.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Like Teresa mentioned, I will be hosting the Cohort Game this afternoon. So if you can type, my name is Fromin. Sorry, I forgot to mention. My name is Fromin Bensing from the Calgary Bridge Foundation for Youth, and I'm one of the CLIP Action Committee member as well. So I have shared a link for the quiz on the screen, and using your mobile phone or your computer or laptop, please type in the browser www.cohort.it and then enter the game pin number. It's 101281. Then type your name and click go button, and then the game will populate on your devices. I am sharing my screen to read out each question and options and answer choices as well. Please follow along on the screen and select the answer of your choice corresponding to the button with the same color as your answer. You will have 30 seconds to provide your answer. Participants that send in the correct answer quickly will get higher points. At the end of 5 questions, the top 3 players will be displayed on the screen, and they will be receiving some gift items from our agency. So participants, are you ready to play? All right, so we have 7 members on the screen on the game lobby now. Are we waiting for other people, or shall we start?
We can start.
Okay, let's start.
Actually, I need some time to download it, if it is okay.
Okay, sorry, we've started the game, so I should have waited a little more time. But yeah, so the first question is, when is the upcoming municipal election? Red, Thursday, April 1st, 2021. Monday for blue, October 18th, 2021. For yellow, it's a Saturday, December 25th, 2021. And for green, Wednesday, June 16th, 2020. So we have ML who got the correct answer. Question number 2. Who can vote in the Calgary municipal election? Red, choice, anyone over 18 years old. Blue, Canadian citizens over 18 living in Alberta. And yellow, Canadian citizens 18 years old, Alberta residents on election day and 6 months prior. Or green, Canadian citizen and permanent residents over 18. Okay, so we have 0 correct answers. So ML will still be the top of the leaderboard. Question number 3, who do you elect in the Calgary municipal election? Is it red, Mayor of Calgary and Alberta Premier, or blue, Mayor and councillors of Calgary and surrounding areas, yellow, Mayor, councillors and school board trustees, or green, Mayor of Calgary and surrounding areas? All right, so we've got 2 correct answer. So it's Laura now on the leaderboard, followed by Lily and ML. Fourth question, where can you cast your vote during the election? Is it red, My Children's School, or blue, advanced voting stations, designated voting station, or by special ballot, or yellow, City Hall, or green, the Calgary Public Library? So it's blue color, and we've got 4 correct answers. So it's still Laura on the leaderboard, followed by Ave, Avi, and MBK. This is the last question. What do I need to bring to a voting station? Is it red, my children and family, or blue, my property registration, or yellow, my pets registration, or green, government issued ID documents, or other listed by the Elections Calgary? So we got 5 correct answer, and we will check who's. So third place is A, second place MBK, and first place it's Laura. Congratulations to the 3 of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Froman. Wow, good game, everyone. And congrats to Laura. Okay, now we will have Leigh Molina, our committee member, who will provide the instructions for the bingo game.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Teresa, for passing on. At this time, we ask that you all open the bingo card that is attached to the meeting invite email for this event. So it will look like this. You should have received this document when you got the meeting invite for this event. So as we go through the presentations and while the speaker is talking about or discussing about the municipal elections, you will hear some words that are here in the boxes. So every time you hear a word, you will highlight it. So for you to highlight, you'll go to home, click on the highlight icon, and say, for example, you heard mayor. So you're just going to highlight that, or you heard officials, you're going to highlight that. And all throughout the event, you will hear words that could be in this box, so just highlight them. And then once you've highlighted them, you will save your file, you will save as, and put your last name at the end of the label, and then click save. After the event, send your document to clip@calgary.ca. Whoever has the most highlights in the card will win a prize, and we will contact you to give you that prize. So follow along the presentation, make sure you listen carefully and highlight as you listen every word that you will hear. If in case you don't have Word document or you're not using your laptop, that's totally fine. You can screenshot this bingo card right here, go to your gallery, photo edit, and then encircle whatever words you'll hear, and then send the photo version to clip@calgary.ca. Make sure to write your name as well. So that's everything, and I hope everybody will be able to learn a lot in this session. Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you, Lei. Now I hope all of you got ready with your bingo cards. And next, let's welcome our first guest speaker, Robin Bly from the City Clerk Office. Robin will provide an introduction on the city processes and present on the 2021 municipal elections. As we mentioned in the housekeeping, we'll have a Q&A session after all the presentations. Please type your questions in the chat box. Without further ado, let's welcome Robin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robin Bly, and I'm the leader of strategy with Elections Calgary. I'd just like to thank CLIP for inviting Elections Calgary to participate in this session tonight. We always like to take advantage of opportunities to spread the word about elections. Next slide, please. So the agenda for today, we're going to be going through a few topics. You can see the agenda laid out there. We're going to be looking at why you should vote, who's eligible to vote in this municipal election, where you can vote, how you can vote, and we'll be looking at some other opportunities that you can get involved in to participate in the election. Next slide. So voting is a right of all Canadian citizens. Voting is an opportunity for citizens to be part of the political process. When you take part in elections, you have the opportunity to express your point of view and to make democracy work. Your vote is important. It helps to shape the direction that the City of Calgary will take. Members of council that you elect are the ones that set priorities and directions for the city and make decisions on behalf of the people they represent. It's important to vote in a municipal election because your local council, municipal government, has a large impact on your day-to-day life. They include things like transit, setting transit routes and policies, parks and recreation, any animal bylaw services and waste collection, drinking water, making sure we've got good quality drinking water, and police and fire services. Next slide, please. So what can you expect on the ballot on election day? So you can expect to see races for the mayor, for city councilors in the ward that you live in, Calgary Board of Education school trustees, and the Calgary Roman Catholic Separate School District trustees. You will also, and probably see definitely on this coming election, a council approved question on fluoridation, whether we want to add fluoride to our water or not. We're also anticipating a Senate election that we will be operating, or we will be conducting on behalf of the provincial government. And there will most likely be some provincial referendum questions. So it's going to be in this municipal election, it's going to be a pretty big ballot. There's going to be a lot of choices to make and a lot of races that you'll be able to vote for. Next. Great, thank you. So ward boundaries. So Calgary is divided into 14 wards, and each ward is represented by a councillor who is elected by the electors and the voters that live in that particular ward. So since the previous election, there's been some minor changes to the ward boundaries that will come into effect on election day. It's important to understand what ward you live in, because that's going to affect the names that you're going to see on your ballot. So if you're not familiar, you can go to our webpage, electionscalgary.ca, and there will be a little tool there called Where Do I Vote? You can enter your address, and it will tell you which ward that you live in. So there's a number of ways and voting opportunities for you if you're eligible to vote. We're recommending that you make a plan to decide how you're going to vote and to choose when and where you would like to vote. So mail-in ballots, there are currently restrictions in place on who can actually request a mail-in ballot. You have to be physically unable to go to a voting station. You have to be working at a voting station on election day, or you have to be out of the city on election day. So that's the criteria for being eligible to request a mail-in ballot. There's also advanced vote. So advanced vote will occur October 4th to October 10th. There will be advanced vote stations across the city, and you can vote at any advanced vote station. You don't have to vote at the one that's in your ward. Then on election day, you have to vote at your designated voting station. Voting stations are open from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. The busiest time on election day is between 4 and 8 p.m. So if you're choosing to vote on election day, we recommend that you maybe, if you're able to maybe go a little bit earlier. There could be lineups on election day, especially during the busy times. So we just recommend that you maybe even vote at the advanced vote on election day. So who can vote? So you can vote on election day if you are 18 years or older on that day, you're a Canadian citizen, and you're a resident of Calgary on that day. And in terms of wards, you have to be a resident of the ward to vote for the councillor in that ward, and also for the school trustees that are representing that ward. You also need to be able to provide one of the authorized pieces of identification. And actually, can I get the next slide? And I'll talk about ID. So there are, for the ID requirements, there's quite a long list of ID that we consider to be acceptable. It does not have to be picture ID. If you don't have that, that's okay. One of the other forms of ID is acceptable to us. This is a lot of information to take in for ID. This information is also available on our website if you want to check back there to make sure that you've got the correct ID. The next slide, please. So we are taking precautions, being with COVID going on right now, we will be taking precautions at the voting stations. It is a priority for us. It's one of the biggest priorities for voters and workers. Elections Calgary will be following all of the health guidelines from the province and the city that are in effect at that time. We're planning to operate under a similar rules and situation that you might see in a grocery store. So that includes wearing masks. We ask that people who are coming to the voting station and entering the voting station are wearing a mask. There will be spacing, so social distancing in place, the 6 feet apart from other voters and workers, as well as sanitization. So there will be hand sanitizer provided. We will be sanitizing surfaces and materials regularly throughout the day. And we're just asking that everybody please follow any health guidelines that are in effect at the time. You may experience some longer lineups because of the health restrictions, so that could limit the number of people that we can let into the voting station at any one time. Also, with the distancing, the lineup may seem quite long. You know, when you go to the grocery store and the lineup seems really long because everyone's spaced out. So we just want to encourage you to consider voting at the advanced vote stations if you can. Can I get the next slide, please? So how can you vote and what can you expect at the voting station? So when you arrive, you can expect to be greeted at the door by one of our staff, and they're going to advise you of any COVID safety rules that are in effect at the time, and they will direct you to the voting station room. When you arrive at the voting station room, you will need to show your ID to confirm who you are and to get your ballot. When you've received your ballot, you will go to the privacy booth alone to mark your ballot. The privacy booth is big enough that you can conceal your ballot and mark it in privacy, and every voter has the right to mark their ballot in secrecy. When you've done that, when you've gone to the voting booth and marked your ballot, you'll bring it to the tabulator clerk. The tabulator clerk is going to take the ballot from you and scan it. You can stay there and watch them scan it. When the ballot goes through the tabulator, it's going to drop into a sealed ballot box, and it will remain sealed really from that point on, unless we have a reason that we need to open the ballot box. But for the most part, the ballots remain sealed in the ballot box. Could I get the next slide, please? So before you go there, you need to make sure you know who your candidates are and what you're voting for, and which names are going to be appearing on your ballot. You can go to our website at electionscalgary.ca to view the list of candidates that will be eligible in your ward. The final list of candidates will be available September 22nd on our website. And candidate profiles will also be available during the summer of 2021. There will be more information on each candidate as well as videos of each candidate. Also on our site, as well as candidates, there will be information on any referendum questions that may be voted on, so you can become familiar with those questions as well. So along with voting and everything, we do have work opportunities available for the election. You do have to be a citizen to vote. You do not have to be a Canadian citizen to work the election. So we have a number of positions that are available that you can apply for. And the positions are available for election day as well as for advanced vote day. I can just go through them quickly. The presiding deputy returning officer is the one who manages and supervises the voting station. They have an assistant, the assistant presiding deputy returning officer. They help the presiding deputy with any duties and anything else that the PDRO would like them to do. We have quite a few deputy returning officers, so they do a number of different functions. They'll be checking ID, they'll be managing the voters list, and they can help to explain the process to voters. The ballot clerk is the one that manages and tracks all of the ballots in the voting station and keeps all of the counting relating to that. A tabulator clerk is the one that's at the tabulator. They run the ballots through the tabulator and help if there are any technical issues with the tabulator as well. We also have information officers, and they're the ones that will be at the door greeting you. They will be providing masks and sanitizer. They help to manage the lines. So those are the main positions that we have. Applications for workers will be open August 1st, 2021, and more information will be available on our Elections Calgary website on how you can apply, and as well as more information on the particular positions. Next slide. So if you're interested in becoming a candidate, here's just a little bit about what you need to do and whether or not you're eligible. So to be eligible to be a candidate, you have to be eligible to vote, which means, as you know, you have to be at least 18 years old, a Canadian citizen, reside in Alberta, and your place of residence is Calgary on election day. You have to have been a resident of Calgary for the 6 consecutive months immediately preceding nomination day. So nomination day is technically November 20th. So you would have to have been a resident in Calgary since March 20th, which is in 2 days. So you'll have to be a resident in Calgary on March 20th to qualify. Councillors and school board trustees don't have to reside in the resident that they want to represent. Separate school board trustees, there are a few additional requirements for those, and we just encourage you to look to read through the Election Act to find out what those are. If you are interested in becoming a candidate, again, on our website, we have all of the forms that you will need, as well as a lot of different information that would be pertinent to being a candidate. So that's about all that we have right now. I can take any questions that you have now, or you can wait until the end of this session to ask any questions if you like.
Thank you very much, Robin, for your presentation. It's very informative. And also, we're very excited about the work opportunities. Okay, so next, I would like to introduce Samantha Boudet, the CLIP coordinator, who will be speaking about the importance of newcomer civic engagement. Let's welcome Sam.
Thanks so much, Teresa. Thanks everyone for joining us this evening. It's great to see everybody come out to learn a bit more about municipal elections. I became a Canadian citizen at 18 because I wanted to vote. And since then, I've only missed a couple of elections because I was out of the country. But this is actually the first time that I've ever voted in a municipal election in Calgary. I voted municipally in other parts of Canada, but I just moved back to Calgary 2 years ago. So I'm really excited about the municipal election. I actually love the whole process of voting. And I think that's because, like you, for me, it was a very conscious decision to become a Canadian citizen. So it's a responsibility I take very seriously. I also feel like I'm carrying a debt to those who came before, who fought so hard for women to get the vote. And for those around the world who are literally putting their lives on the line right now to fight for their right to live in a democratic society. For me, to not vote when I have the opportunity feels disrespectful to everything that they're fighting for and dying for right now. We like to think that in Canada, we have a long and equitable democratic history, but the truth is a little bit darker. Many people have had to fight for the right to vote in Canada on the streets and in courtrooms. Women in Canada got the right to vote in 1918, but were not considered legal persons until 1928. And in Quebec, women could not vote in provincial elections until 1940. But it was not all women. Chinese Canadians did not get the right to vote in Canada until 1947. For Japanese Canadians, it was 1949. For Indigenous peoples in Canada, the Inuit could not vote in federal elections until 1950. And for First Nations living on reserves, like the Tsuut'ina, the Siksika, the Kainai, it was 1960 before they were granted the right to vote in federal elections without having to give up their treaty rights. Statistics Canada regularly asks Canadians questions about their voting behavior, and we don't all vote. On average, about 60 to 70% of eligible voters actually vote in federal elections. The numbers are a bit lower at the provincial level and lower still at the municipal level, which I always find a little bit odd because, as you heard from Robin from the city clerk's office, municipal affairs really are actually what affects people the most on a day-to-day level. So when you even think about sort of what you did today, just sort of living your life and how many impacts city services have on your life on a daily basis, on your roads, on parks, libraries, electricity, water, sewage, whether you can build a shed in your backyard. So to me, it makes much more sense to be engaged in local elections if you have to choose, but of course you don't have to choose. So you can get engaged at all levels of elections in Canada. We know that new Canadians tend to have lower rates of voting, and that's for a number of different reasons. For some, they may come from a country where elections are not the norm. They may have higher levels of distrust in politicians and government institutions, and so they don't see the point. They may not understand how the election system works in Canada, and information about elections may not be available in languages other than English or French, and we're going to work on that this year. Or they just might be too busy with setting up a new life in Canada that they just don't have the time to get engaged in the process. We also know, however, that the longer that immigrants are in Canada, the more likely they are to vote. But we want to make sure that all of you don't wait 10 years to vote for the first time in Canada. We want you to exercise your right to vote as soon as you can. You've heard from city clerks how to find out if you're eligible to vote. And as you heard, voting is actually very simple, very quick. I've only ever waited in line once or twice to vote. Most of the time, it's a very simple 5-10 minute process, showing your ID to the people at the door, having your name checked off, getting the ballot, and then going into the voting booth, ticking the candidate of your choice, and handing over your ballot to be sealed and counted. I have to tell you, it feels very empowering, and you feel like you are a part of something bigger. Even for me, when most of the time my candidates of choice very rarely get elected, but it's still something that I think is really important. And you often see your neighbors at the polling station. People bring their kids, their dogs, they come on their bikes, or they stop off to vote on their evening walk. And polling stations are often in local schools or community centers, and they are open very long hours to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to get in there and vote. So I guess to wrap up, why should you vote? Because your voice matters, because you are part of this community and you have a say in how the community is run. If you're concerned about the traffic in your neighborhood or how often snow is removed from city streets, if you think your neighborhood should have a new recreation center or sports field, if you think Calgary needs to invest more in actions around climate change, or you think Calgary should not invest more in actions around climate change, then check out who's running in your ward for this election. Ask them questions, share your ideas for how to make your community even better. And you don't have to be a Canadian citizen to engage with your local councillor or to go to meetings to learn more about the platform that they're running on. Make an informed decision about who you might vote for in this election. And if you can't vote this time, still get involved. You never know. It might be your name on the ballot in a few years. So thanks very much again for being here. And I look forward to hearing some of your questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sam, for sharing your thoughts about why it is important to enhance the newcomers' civic engagement. Now, we'll open the floor for Q&As. Let me welcome Lei to facilitate this portion.
Thanks, Teresa. Now we will proceed to the questions that we have in the chat. We have quite a few, which is great. To start with, I have a question. Robin, if you can assist with answering some of this question, I believe it will be best if you can address these. So question number 1 is that if the voter moved to a different address, will it need to change to a different designated voting station? So that is our first question.
So The answer is yes. If the address you've moved to, if that is assigned to a different designated voting station, then yes, you would have to go to that other station. You can check, like on our website, we do have the Where Do I Vote
Right.
application. So you just need to put in the address and it will tell you which voting station you should go to. So if you moved just recently before just shortly before the election, you can put your new address in there and it will tell you the voting station that you should go to on election day. For advanced vote, if you're voting during the advanced vote, you can go to any voting station. You don't have to go to the one that's designated. You're not designated to a voting station, and that's just for advanced vote. You can go to any voting station.
Right, great. That is good to know. Very good question. I also have a second question here. It's from Theresa's client as well. A Calgarian currently works or attends university or post-secondary institute outside Calgary. Will he or she be eligible to vote?
I would say that if they're not living in Calgary, they probably not, but they would be eligible if it's an institution outside of Calgary, but still within Alberta. You would be eligible to vote in the community that you're living in at that time. So if you normally reside in Calgary, but you're going to school, say in Edmonton, and you've been living in Edmonton to go to school, you are eligible to vote in Edmonton. So you're eligible to vote. You have to be living to be able to vote in Calgary. You have to be living a resident of Calgary on election day.
Right. Okay. Very good question. Thanks for answering that. We also have another question about eligibility here. It's asking if on the elections period, our citizenship application is pending with IRCC, will we be allowed to vote? Or if our Canadian documents have not yet arrived, but we have passed the exams, would we be allowed to vote?
I would say if your citizenship application is still pending, then no, you would not be eligible because you wouldn't. I don't know all of the immigration procedures, but I'm guessing you wouldn't be considered a citizen at that time. So if the application is still pending, probably not. Now, if you've passed the exams, I would say and again, I'm not completely familiar with all of the processes, but there's probably a point that you take exams, and there may be another point in which you actually take an oath of citizenship.
Right.
So to be absolutely sure, you should check with the Immigration Services to determine at what point in this process you are actually considered a citizen. So,
Right.
when you come to and that's would be up to you to determine. When you come to the vote station, we don't ask for proof of citizenship. We ask, what we're looking for is more identification that will identify who you are. So,
Right.
so again, I would check with Immigration Services to verify at what point in that process you're considered a Canadian citizen.
Right. Yes. That is great for anybody who's waiting for their Canadian citizenship. It's important to know when at that time will you be considered Canadian. So if you can vote or not, and if you can, then practice your right to vote, right? So thanks for answering that, Robin. And I have another question about the work opportunities. We're asking what would be the hours or what would the commitment look like for the upcoming work opportunities for the elections?
Right. So on election day, the voting stations are open to the public, open for people to come in from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening. There's probably half an hour before that and maybe half an hour to an hour after that you would require. So we do require you to be available to work the entire day. There's a bit of, like I said, before 8 o'clock in the morning, there's a bit of setup time. And at
Right.
the end, there's a bit of time to take down, and that's on election day. During advanced vote lasts for 7 days, from October 4th to October 10th.
Right.
Now, the individual vote stations have various hours. They typically don't open until maybe 10 in the morning and close around 7. It's going to vary a little bit between the different vote stations. So we would like you to be available during that particular time. If you're available for the full 7 days, that's great. We would consider, you know, certain blocks of time. If you can work for 3 days or 4 days, I think we could probably consider that as well. And as well as working, we do provide training for all of the positions. So depending on the type of position that you're assigned to will determine the amount of training that you get. So we do, you would be required to attend some in-person training prior to the election day. And it typically runs for anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours, depending on the position, the type of position that you're fulfilling. There's also a certain portion of online training that would be available to you as well.
Right. And just to follow up on that question as well, can we take time off from our work to vote?
I think you should be allowed, or employers are required to allow people, I believe it's 3 hours. I'm not sure whether it's 3 or 4 hours. I believe it's a 3-hour block to go and vote. Now that can include, part of that 3 hours can include time before and after you're working. So for example, if you work, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, trying to do this calculation, if your work hours, you know, are say ending at 7 in the evening and the polls close at 8,
Right.
I think they would have to allow you enough time off to make up the 3 hours.
Yeah.
So yes, that's up to individual employers to work that out, but I do believe that they are required to give you some time off to vote.
All right, that's good to know. I think we have our last question right here. Where can we find information about the candidates and probably their agendas or projects or initiatives that they're planning for the community?
Right. So on our website, we do have information about all of the candidates. Right now, all we're posting is as candidates come in and submit their nomination papers on our website, we put their name. If they have any contact information, we post that as well. So it can include a phone number, it can include a website. So you can, if they have links to their website, and most of them will have a website with their information on it, you can go and visit that, and we will have links to it. In the spring and summer, we're going to be posting more information about individual candidates. So the candidates can give us more information about a biography. They will be coming into the office and can record a short video about their particular positions and issues that they're interested in. And we will be posting that on our website as well.
Right. That will be really helpful for us to, you know, decide on who to vouch for, right? Sorry, that was second to the last question. And our last question would be, does a voter register with National Register of Electors or with City of Calgary to be on the municipal election voters list?
So right now we're working with Elections Alberta, actually, to get the voter information from them. So you can stay tuned. We will be posting more information on our website about how you can register. If you don't register and you just show up at the voting station, you can still vote. You don't have to be on the voters list to vote. It just means that there's a form that you fill out at the voting station to say that you are eligible to vote. You provide some ID and you can vote. So we will be providing more information on our website about the voters list, how you can get on the voters list. But if you don't do that, you can still vote.
Right. That is very good to know. Well, that's a lot of good questions, and thank you, Robin, for answering all of those. I believe that's the end of our Q&A. I'll pass it back to Teresa.
Thank you, Lei. And thanks for everyone's questions. And thanks to Robin giving all the answers. Last but not least, let me introduce Aravic, the CLIP Community Liaison, to share a few updates from CLIP.
Thanks, Teresa. I know we don't have a lot of time left, so I'll just quickly run through everything. With all of the CLIP things that we're doing, We also are very much needing newcomer input in the newcomer survey. And we wanted to use this opportunity to quickly inform you about the survey. On March 5th, we launched our newcomer survey, and we were asking newcomers who have recently arrived to Calgary within the past 5 years, to share their experiences as they made Calgary their home. We would like to know who or what helped them settle or you settle in life in Calgary. To be eligible to complete the survey, you must be 18 years of age or older, a resident of Calgary, born outside of Canada, and have lived in Canada for 5 years or less. The survey will take approximately 10 to 15 minutes to complete. Responses to the survey are confidential. Individual responses will not be released or shared or published. At the end of the survey, however, you will be asked to provide your email address if you would like to be entered into a draw for one of the 10 $50 gift cards. The survey is also available in 12 different languages. And as you can see on my slide, I have listed all of them. And this is to accommodate some of the individuals who speak these languages. Also, if you wish, you can scan the barcode right now that you see on the screen, and you can complete the survey. But I will also follow up with an email with the survey link if you wish to complete it. Feel free to share the survey amongst your community, ethnic groups, or your family and friends. That'll be very helpful for all of us. A second thing that I want to talk about was that we are hoping to put together a few more events related to increasing newcomer civic engagement and participating in the municipal election. If you're interested in being notified about these events that are coming up, please email us at clip. And we will inform you about it. You can stay connected on our Facebook page and our Twitter page, and with our e-newsletter. Again, I will follow up with an email with our Facebook, Twitter handles, and our website as well. Also, we would love to get your feedback on today's event. I will send a follow-up email, as I mentioned, with the evaluation link. If you can quickly complete it for us, it'll take less than 5 minutes. It would really help us inform our work moving forward. And finally, all the individuals who won the game today, we would really appreciate if you can just email us back for the quiz. Email us, and we can send you your prizes. And finally, please send us your bingo card so that we could also include you in a draw to win prizes. I would like to thank every single person for attending today, the committee members and the speaker for such a wonderful presentation and session. And I will turn it back over to Teresa. Thank you.
Thank you, Aravik. So everyone, please email your bingo cards to us. And once again, I would like to thank everyone taking your time joining tonight's webinar. I hope you have information to take away. And thanks to our speakers, the committee members, and without your work, this event may not have happened. So thank you for joining us, and wish you have a restful night. Okay, we look forward to seeing you in the future. Okay, bye-bye.